Our next honoree tonight is also a distinguished baseball man. His teams won more than 600 games in 3+ decades at Alton Marquette Catholic High, including 2 state championships. But when he was hired in the late 70s at the school, it was to be an assistant football coach. He did that and then became the head baseball coach, guiding the Explorers to the first state title in school history for any sport, baseball, in 1980. They also won in 1984.
Baseball is a passion. I got into it. I took 5 years as a freshman level, and then I had in 77 my first years as varsity. We won state in 1980 and 84 and got second in 1988. And we've been to state 8 other times. I was very lucky to have some very good athletes who were baseball players. I can't say a lot that I made them better. They were very athletic. I'm probably most proud is that right now there's doctors, dentists, lawyers, businessmen who are graduates. I've got a couple who've gone on to college and played ball, a couple who've been pro ball players. But the main thing is they're successful later on afterwards. And I think from playing sports, as you know, it makes you also part of that team. I didn't do it. They did it. I didn't get any base hits. I didn't throw any strikes. I didn't do anything like that. The players on the field did all that. I was just sort of along for the ride, and I enjoyed the ride. When I retired, I had 641 wins, and I think it was 395 losses. And I think I'm 8th on the state of Illinois in most wins. Next for Greg DeCourcey is hopefully going part-time next year. It'll be my 40th year. I would like to, like I said 2 years ago when I got out of baseball, I didn't know what everybody else did in the springtime. So I'm finding out that there is something after baseball, and it's fun, and I want to see what it's like to be half retired now. So next year I'm going to try and half retirement.
Coach, come on up. Welcome to the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Interviewing Coach DeCourcey tonight is a fellow SIUE alum. We've got a theme going here. And classmate of mine, Steve Porter, is the former sports editor of the Alton Telegraph and Hall of Famer in his own right. He's in the Illinois Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame, City of Alton Hall of Fame, Alton Athletics Hall of Fame, and he's just a big deal. Steve, let's hear from the coach.
Thank you, Tom. By the way, the check's in the mail. Oh, I don't write checks anymore.
Money's at my table.
That's true. Well, good evening. First of all, I want to know, is everybody having a great time? Good to hear. Okay. We're continuing the baseball theme here with the number 2 hitter, Greg DeCourcey, and you saw what Greg did at Alton Marquette. Phenomenal success, great success in the 1980s with 2 state titles and a runner-up role. Before we get into that, I think Greg has some people he'd like to introduce.
Before I get to that, that video is about 10 years old, so that's when I had darker hair. My wife of 50 years is over here at the table, and my kids. I'm lucky to have some ball players here that I had the opportunity to drive the bus for and let them play at certain fields around the state of Illinois, because they're the reason coaches enjoy the sport, is getting to know the players and the opportunity to see them succeed.
Greg, the 1980s were really good for you and the Explorers. The first championship in 80, you beat a team, Mount Carmel, from southeastern Illinois that finished second in AA, large school, the previous year. And they came into A. Everybody thought they were the favorite. And you beat them basically out hitting them and stealing a lot of bases. That 80 team could really hit and really steal bases.
It was an exceptional team. That year we stole over 195 bases out of 200 attempts, and my top 3 players in the batting order all had over 50 stolen bases that year. So it was like getting on base with a double and triple every time. So it made it a lot easier for a coach who didn't have a lot of experience and just sort of let them play and enjoy themselves.
You also had good pitching on that team and got hot at the right time and just overwhelmed some people.
Yeah, we had senior pitcher was Timmy Harwood, and junior pitcher was Ned Schultz, a left-hander, and they were two bulldogs, very good performers. And I guess it was a couple months ago we had our reunion back at the high school where we honored that team, and it was nice to see those gentlemen after 40 years, and some of them had changed.
And that was the first state championship of any kind in Marquette history. Did that sort of set the tone for better things to come for just baseball, not just for baseball, but for all sports?
I don't know if it set a better tone for everything, but it did open some eyes, and it showed some other sports that there were opportunities there for them to succeed. I know with the girls and boys soccer, they succeeded and done very well. The softball, baseball, it's expanded, and being from a small Catholic high school, the best thing that happened was back in, what was it, 79, I think, when went to 2 classes, and it made more of an equal playing field.
Then 84 was a very unusual team, power and pitching, but you were under 500, I think, at one point late in the season, maybe going in the regional. Part of that was because you were playing some good competition. You always played all the large schools or any you could, Alton, Edwardsville, whomever. But then that team got hot and went on to win state.
You have to play good competition to see exactly what you have for down the road when you get to regionals. We went into the regionals that year at 10-12, and then won 8 games in a row to win the state championship up at Springfield. We had 2 boys that got hurt in football coming back, and they only got to play like 15 games that season, but they were the ones who MVP players in the state tournament.
And then the 88 team almost won it, but came in second, but had a good run also at the end of the year.
Very good run right there, and it was sort of like every 4 years you get a new crop of young men coming into your program, and with 80, 84, and 88, it was just carrying over, and the momentum just didn't let up at all.
You told me, too, during that decade, you got a lot of players that would come out for baseball, and I'm sure success had something to do with that. And they enjoyed playing for you, and I think you just sort of, I don't want to say you let them play, but you let them be the best they could.
Well, let's not ask them how much they enjoyed playing for me, but what's nice is you got a bunch of individuals who are competing, and the better they compete, the better the team gets. And when the team is good, success follows, and when there's success, everybody's excited. Like I said, I just drove the bus and let them play, but along the way I've had some very good assistant coaches. I've had players that who now are head coaches in the area. I would like to think that I had a little bit of an influence over them wanting to carry on and try to fulfill their dreams also.
Did you have a certain philosophy or style about your coaching, or did you sort of depended on the team? Like, for example, the 80 team had speed, quickness, and good hitters, and the 84 team had power.
You had to make adjustments with the type of talent you have. If you don't make adjustments, you're going to run into a wall. Sooner or later, you're not going to compete against the big AA schools, and that's who we ended up playing on our schedule.
What would you say was your biggest thrill out of all those years in coaching? The winning the state titles, or just being around a lot of great kids and helping them develop?
I think one of the best things has happened is, and I've said this to my 80 and 84 team, that when you're successful and when they won those state tournaments, they're left with a memory that nobody can take away from them. And when I go downtown Alton now, or when I go to Edwardsville, or when I go to Brighton, I'll see players, and the first thing I want to do is, hey, coach, remember this, remember that, how are you doing? It's what's carrying over later on in life, and they're seeing you as not just a coach. You're seeing you as an individual that's maybe had a little influence on them.
One more question, Greg. What are you doing these days?
Well, I was going to take the spring off
You're
But
still coaching, aren't you?
I'm sort of volunteering to help Mr. Fanistock with the baseball team. But I don't go to away games. I don't ride buses, which is a plus.
Once a coach, always a coach.
Once a coach, always.
Let's hear it for our new Hall of Famer, Greg DeCourcey, Alton Marquette Catholic High School.
Can I say one thing? When Mr. Moore called me back in January, I'm sitting on the beach in Aruba, and my phone rings, and it's got this destination I don't know about. It says Collinsville, and I thought, who is calling me in Collinsville? And Tim gets on and says, hey, you know, we got this program going on, and we'd like you to be part of it, and this and that. And I don't think I ever told him exactly where I was, but my AT&T bill jumped up quite a bit that day.